Amazon dropshipping without software. Is it really possible? Well, in this video, that's exactly what I'm going to discuss. Now, for one, we have Amazon dropshipping software tasks. So, what are the tasks that you have to do that is normally done by software? Well, for one, you have supplier, stock, and price tracking. And what this does is it prevents out-of-stock issues and profit loss. And it does that by going to the supplier, checking to see if your item is in stock. If the item goes out of stock at your supplier, then it will take the item out of stock on Amazon. Also, it checks for price changes. So now the question becomes, can this be done manually? And the answer is actually yes. And I'm going to give two reasons why I say this can be done manually. Well, one, it can be done manually because depending on the supplier you use, and I'm going to say actually a lot of suppliers, the items don't go out of stock as often as people might think. So if you check the item often enough, do you have to be checking the item very often? Then it is possible. Also, if you're using more obscure suppliers, I'm not talking about Walmart. Walmart is not obscure, but a smaller, lesser known supplier, they do not go out of stock as often, and their prices don't change often. So if you're using those kinds of suppliers especially, yes, it is very possible to do it manually. Another part of this is product data and research. Now, product data and research, if you use software, it will automatically pull the product data off of your Amazon page, tell you the estimated sales, and other pieces of useful information. However, some of this information is possible to either get yourself manually, or it is possible to deduce some of the same information from the listing yourself without software. Software can also be used to find products faster. There are softwares that will scan items at a supplier, such as Walmart, Overstock, Home Depot, and it will actually find matches for those products on Amazon. So, but again, that is something that can be done manually using methods that are pretty well-known methods that are taught by lots of instructors, myself included. Now, another reason or another purpose of software is for buy box and repricing strategy. So, which really is just competing with other sellers automatically. So, you will find on Amazon other sellers, being that multiple sellers sell on the same listing, you'll find that sellers on a listing will sometimes keep lowering the price, and with software can automatically go in and make your price lower to match their price. Otherwise, if you want to stay competitive, you will have to manually go in and do that yourself. So that's another reason for using software. Now, can you do these tasks manually? Now, the short answer is yes, you can do these manually. But that really depends. Yes, you can if you have time for the number of products you manage. So that's one thing, right? You have to have enough time. So if you have 1,000 products, it's going to be very challenging to do that, especially if it's just you alone. You would need a lot of people. But if you have 10 products, I would even say 20 products, it is quite possible to manage these products manually. So if you're just starting out, you will probably start out with a smaller number of products, and then it is quite possible to have enough time. Another thing that's going to be very helpful is if you have a system. I actually have a spreadsheet system, which is used, which any Amazon dropshipper can use, whether you're using software or not. If you have a system like that, yes, that's also very helpful. And 3, if you have the commitment to do it daily. So that's the other thing. If you're going to do everything manually, especially checking supplier, stock, and prices, you won't be able to check them once a week. You would have to do it daily. I would even suggest multiple times a day, if at least twice a day at opposite ends of the day, maybe even 3 times a day if possible, just to really be careful. So you have to have the commitment to do it daily. Suggestions for manual management. Well, for one, you can create a checklist for yourself of what you need to do and how often. So if you're going to do everything manually, you're going to need a checklist. Just to remind yourself that I have to check inventory, I have to do this, I have to do that, and just to have a list of what those things are if you need to do them twice a day, and just to keep track of whether or not you're doing those things. Number two, you need to keep the quantity of each product very low. So you don't want to say that you have 10 units of a product and then the product goes out of stock, or not so much goes out of stock, but perhaps you try to sell 10 units and then there are only 7 units left. So the safest thing you can do is say that you have 1 unit of a product only, 1 unit at a time, sell 1 unit of each product at a time. And thirdly, try to sell products with multiple suppliers. This is really a very good fail-safe to prevent out-of-stock issues, is that having 3 suppliers that carry the same product and then selling that product will make it a lot easier. If you're out of stock on one supplier, you can go to another supplier. Another very unpopular thing you could do is you could actually buy, if you know that you're going to drop ship the product, and this is actually good if you're testing out a supplier that isn't very well known and you want to try them out. You could actually buy the product from them if it's a smaller product, especially. See how they ship the product to you, keep the product. So if the product goes out of stock, you can take that product, put it in a box, and ship it to your customer. That's not a very popular option, but it is something that can be done. However, it works best if you live in the same country as the marketplace that you're selling, right? So if you're selling on Amazon US, you'd want to be in the US for this, right? Now, here's my conclusion. My conclusion is that if you have few products to drop ship, yes, it is possible to do it manually. Yes, there's some risk involved, but software does not completely remove this risk. So what I'm saying is that there is some risk in doing it manually. It feels like it's a bit more risky, but understand that using software does not remove the risk either, because if you take too long to fill orders, they can still go out of stock before you get to fill them. So once, the software will only check to keep your store in stock, but once you sell the item, you cannot take it back, right? Once an order comes through, the order has come through. So if you take 24 hours to then get onto the website of your supplier and fill the order, well, in 24 hours, it could potentially be too late. And so that's still a risk. So reducing risk really has a lot to do with how quickly your processing time is, right? When you get an order, your ability to fill the order more quickly has a lot to do with it as well. It's not just software or not using software. Okay, the other thing, use my Excel system, which is linked on this video, to help manage your products with or without software. Whether or not you're using software, it will help you organize your products, your orders, your returns, and your profits. And I'll show you a quick preview of the system. Now, I do have another video where I fully discuss or explain or demonstrate the system, but just to give you a quick look at it, here's the product section. You can put all your product Amazon listing information in here, your supplier information here. It calculates your subtotal, the tax, the cost. You can even insert your cashback percentages from your credit card and a website, cashback site. All that gets calculated in with the Amazon fee, the Amazon price. It will determine your profit, your upfront initial profit, as well as your back-end profit, which is your profit after cashback. There's also an order sheet where you can enter all of your orders data, and it will process the cost of your orders. You can put all of your supplier information for your order in here as well. Again, cashback, total profits. Refunds, if you have any returns or cancellations, you can put those in here as well. And everything will be accounted for and calculated onto the profits summary sheet, which will give you a daily profit summary, of all of your order totals as well as refunds per day, so that you can see what your total profit is. And so this is a system that is free, which you can download through a link in the description of this video. Again, whether or not you're using software, that doesn't matter. You still need to organize your products and organize your orders and your refunds and your profits in your own system that you have access to. So definitely get a copy of this. And again, I have a series of videos that actually explains and demonstrates how the system works. And if you have any further comments, suggestions, or questions, please leave them on the video below. This is Mr. Mark with Excel for Amazon Dropshipping, and I hope to see you in another video.